Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Alyssa. I'm back at it again today with another video for you guys, but today's video is going to be a lot different from the videos I've uploaded on my channel before. Today's video is more of a memorial slash moral type of story that I wanted to get my cousin's story out there, and I want to let his life be known by everyone because that's just how much he meant to me. So I probably am gonna get emotional during this video because this is just such a sensitive topic for me. Yeah, so let's get right into it. All right, y'all. So this right here is my cousin that we're going to be talking about today, Richard Ramey Alvin Wolliver, and he went by Boog or Boogie. So Boog was born on August 31st of 1994 in Stockton, California. He has two brothers and one sister. Growing up, his childhood life, he just was surrounded by a lot of siblings, surrounded by a lot of family. So he grew up, it was normal, like he was just always involved with family. So that was really big to him. So he was only 7 years old when I was born. And, obviously we were just inseparable ever since. But because there was such a bit of an age gap between us, most of his preteen years were spent with my auntie and his brother. And they were just really, really adventurous kids. They loved to climb up on the roof and throw rocks off at people. They liked to ride around riding their skates outside. And he loved going to the ice cream truck, and he loved going to the flea market and, just going out and doing things like that. His favorite type of music, he did love Bay Area artists such as like E40, Too Short, The Jacka. But even though he had that like hard side to him, he loved him some Nelly. Like, he was just like, yeah, anyways, but he loved him some Nelly. So he was just like, he was always around for like every single birthday party, Halloween party, family barbecue, whatever it was, he was there, he was present. He just became such a big light in the room. Every party he was at, he would always make people smile and laugh, and everyone just knew him to be kind of like the life of the party. Everyone wanted to laugh with him and hang out with him and stuff. And God, he was just like such the most, like his personality and his character, it was like he was awesome. I wish you guys could have met him. And that's why I'm here telling this story today, is because unfortunately you guys can't meet him, you know what I mean? And like, I had the privilege, I had the opportunity to have him in my life, so I want to share this story with you guys so maybe you guys can feel the love and personality through me that he gave to me. So he was just always around whenever you needed him, and whenever you needed him, he was right there. One of the earliest memories that I can recall with my cousin is he loved to just be a little shithead, you know what I mean? Anything he could do to try to like piss you off, but in a funny way, he would do it. And I remember I was only about 8, my sister was maybe 6 years old, and he liked to switch our names up. My name's Alyssa, my little sister's name is Brittany, so he'd be like, good Lyssa, bad Brittany, and it would just, he liked to do those things to try to like pick at us and like, look, stop, but it was something that like, it was just an us thing, Another memory, God. So another memory that I have with my cousin is I used to have this like orange hopper ball with a handle, and we used to bounce around the whole house on that thing. But I remember him like bouncing around the pool table in the living room and bouncing off the walls and stuff. Like, he even dared me to jump off the couch with it, which I did. And it was scary as shit, but he loved to like get us involved and like play with us all the time. Even though he was older than us, he could play like nobody's business. Everything that we did together growing up, we had so much fun while doing it. Like, he taught me so many tricks on roller skating. He taught me how to go backwards and like how not to fall, and like I busted my ass a lot of times, but I can honestly say that most of my roller skating skills that I have today, I learned from him. As I got older, I started to realize things in my life more for what they actually were. I was in 6th grade at the time, and I came home from school, and he was doing his science homework, and he was like, hey, if you do my science homework, I'll give you some candy, So I was like, okay, and I go to do his science homework, and I realized that me and him on the exact same level of science, and he's in high school and I'm in 6th grade, and I just was like, I started to realize like, okay, maybe he's a little slow or something, like, no, I'm just kidding, but it just, I started to pick up on these things, and I was like, okay, he's in school, like he's doing his thing, but he just needs a little help here and there. So yeah, back to what I was saying. I just started to realize things a lot more for what they actually were. During this time in elementary school, around 6th grade, I got bullied a lot. I endured a lot of harassment for being really skinny and like underweight and stuff. And so I remember I would come home so many times and like I would just be crying because I had a shit day at school. And as soon as I would get home, he'd be sitting there on the couch waiting for me, and like he would just instantly turn my mood around. He would make me laugh and make me completely forget about what everyone was saying about me. And it, like, as soon as I got home and he was there, it felt like a safe haven for me. It felt like somewhere that I wasn't being judged, that I was always loved and protected no matter what. Boog was always at our house, and he was just always spending the night, having sleepovers and stuff. He was there so much that it felt weird whenever he wasn't. You know, we did everything together. We had all-nighters. We would stay up watching movies and eating candy. That was like our favorite thing to do, was just to stay up as late as we could, watch these movies and like laugh at each other, make stupid videos, you know? Our favorite movie to watch at the time was Step Brothers, and he just made that movie 1,000 times funnier. Like, I can't even watch it now to this day. I don't laugh the same. Like, watching it with him, it was so freaking funny. And I was only 12, so like everything was funny at the time, but now it's just not even funny. Back then, it was freaking hilarious because he made it that way, you know? This was our favorite scene.
How you doing over there?
Really good. Okay.
Does your son know anything about carpentry?
No, not a. Did I hear a drill?
Dale!
Power tools.
Dale, no power tools!
Oh, what?
No power tools!
You know what? I forgot I have to brush my teeth.
That is not your toothbrush!
Oh, okay. Well, I'm all done anyway.
We did it.
We did it.
It looked amazing.
Look at that. That looks like what you would buy from a store.
It should have been
Look
a
at all the
bed
sports
along.
space.
So
You
much,
do aerobics in here.
so many activities.
Do step class.
It's making my head spin how many activities we can do.
Play Army Man.
Yeah.
This is how we do it.
Da, 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 da.
Hey, I never asked you.
Yeah.
You like guacamole?
So much more space for activities, and then the bunk bed just fucking falls on. Our favorite type of like junk food snacks to eat, we always sat on the couch and just ate Otter Pops, Starburst, and like Lucas Candy. Lucas Candy was his favorite, all-time favorite like munchies snack. And I also remember like when YouTube videos were first becoming a thing, when YouTube videos were first starting to come out and people were first coming out with like comedy skits and stuff like that, there was this video that came out, and it's like a parody of T-Pain, and it's called Buy You Some Gum. I'm insert a clip right
Yes, man. We still going to the clubs and parties or whatever. And girls, y'all breath still stinking. I didn't get the picture, know what I mean? Other day I was like, baby girl, what's your name? Never mind that, cause your breath stink. I roll with the crew, so what's poppin'? I tried to holler at you, but your breath was rotten. I hope you know gone, ain't that cheap? 7-Eleven, girl, is open all week. You can try Winter Fresh, I prefer Trident. Just chew some fucking gum, cause your breath smell like shit. Buy you some gum, ooh-wee. I'ma bring some gum with me, cause your breath stink. Shorty, what you think about that? I be in your face like, be in your face like,
And I just remember he showed us this video one morning before we headed out to go to school, and he was dying laughing. Like, he thought that shit was so funny. And every time I listen to that song now, it's like, that's him all the way. All right, y'all. So I'm going to try my best not to get emotional because I am going to be including a lot of details and a lot in this story. So just bear with me because I cried a lot while I was writing down my notes for this video, and I'm hoping that I don't cry while making this video. So wish me luck. But I just want to also add that even though me and my cousin had a really, really great relationship and he was like my best fucking friend, there was also times where things weren't always so peachy between us. We did have this one really, not really big fight, but it was big enough for me to remember it to this day. I remember at the time I was 11 years old and Boog was 18 because he's 7 years older than me. So I was 11 and he was 18, and I just remember I found out he started smoking cigarettes. And as you can imagine, like, nowadays somebody smoking cigarettes at 18, that's probably a lot more normalized and stuff like that because of just how crazy this generation is. But at the same time, as an 11-year-old little girl, looking at your big brother who's just your best friend, the person you hang out with every single day, it triggered something in me like, nah, I gotta stop this, you know what I mean? So anyways, I stole his lighter and I like hid it under my thigh when I sat down on the couch. And eventually he found out it was me that took his lighter, and he was like sitting on the couch across from me. And we were kind of arguing, bickering, you know, going back and forth and stuff. And he was like, just give it back, you know, quit playing around, just give me my stuff. And so I could never hold up and fight with him. I could never like keep arguing or just keep the fight going, because that's not what we did. We never fought. We never liked to argue with each other. So whenever it was just like we were kind of bumping heads over this, I decided to just give it up. But when I took the lighter out from underneath my thigh, I went to go like toss it to him. But when I tossed it, I misjudged my aim and it like bounced off of his face and into his lap. And he was pissed. He was absolutely furious. He was like, why would you do that? And I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But, you know, the moral of that short story is just, it goes to show, like, even though things were really, really amazing with him and he was a great person and a great cousin all around, just an amazing person, there were times that we bumped heads and we had these moments where he was growing up and he was starting to try new things and he was learning things about himself, things he liked, things he didn't like. And as a young kid, I was just looking up to him, watching everything he was doing. And, you know, I do regret throwing the lighter at him that day, but it's something that always stuck with me. It's something that I will never forget. Okay, this part's gonna kill me. So the day that I'm gonna be talking about is the day we found out he passed away. So it was October 20th of 2013. It was a cold, windy night. We were approaching Halloween and everyone was starting to get ready for Halloween, you know, getting their costumes and getting all of the decorations for people's parties set up and everything like that. We were actually planning on having a Halloween party, and we found out he passed away literally a week before Halloween. Bear with me, I'm trying to laugh to like fight back the tears. I have this feeling that he's like back here, he's like laughing at me somewhere in this room, because I've been talking to him mentally this whole time while I've been filming this video, and I just know for a fact that he's watching me and he's laughing at me, listening to everything I'm saying, and he's like, thank you for doing this. This is from my perspective. I'm sure people who were around him that night have different perspectives, but this is just how I found out. So me and my younger sister, we shared a bedroom, and we were in our room on the ground playing a board game, and Open Season was on the TV. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched Open Season, but one of the main characters in Open Season is a grizzly bear, and his name is Boog. And I just remember while we were watching this, while playing the board game, I look over at my sister and I'm like, oh, next time we see Boog, let's call him Boog, and he won't know where it's from, you know, whatever. So we're sitting on the ground, playing this game, watching this movie, and out of nowhere we hear a really, really shrill cry, and me and my sister just kind of looked at each other and we just dismissed it as like it being the TV or something, so we just like ignored it. And then I shit you not, like 20 seconds later we hear an even worse like cry, moan, like type grunting cry, and we knew instantly it wasn't the TV. So we jumped up, and I just remember opening the bedroom door and I could look down the hallway, and down the hallway I see my mom, and she's just collapsed to her knees and her head is in her hands and she's crying, and I didn't understand what was going on at all. And I look over and my dad is kind of just staring there, and he's like really zoned out, like he had no emotion on his face whatsoever. He was just kind of in his own little universe at the moment. And we were still like, what's going on? What's going on? We're asking all these questions and nobody's telling us anything. And then all of a sudden my mom breaks and she said, Boog's gone. He passed away. And at that moment, I honestly didn't believe it. I was in denial. Me and my sister just kind of looked at each other and we were like, what? Like, no way. There's no way that you're talking about my cousin. Like, my cousin? No way. But then, like 5 minutes later, my mom and my dad rush out of the house to go be with him, to go to him. And then they left me and my sister behind in a state of complete and total shock. we were just sitting there in denial, not understanding anything. She just told us he was gone and he passed away. We had no idea how or when or what happened. So we just were like, this has got to be a prank, you know, this has got to be a joke, or you're joking, like this is not real. Then my grandma shows up and my grandma confirms the worst. After finding out and it being confirmed, I remember I didn't cry. I didn't cry at first because I hadn't seen him. I hadn't been like around him in I think about 24 hours. So I was like, bro, I just seen him yesterday. Like I just seen him a few days ago. Like there's no way. And I didn't cry because I was still in denial. I was still in shock. Even after my grandma was like, yeah, it's true. I remember just sitting there zoning out also. Like my mind wasn't able to process everything that was being told to me. So I kind of just took it all in and shut down completely. Like after we found out about his passing, we were given 2 weeks off of school. Now, to most kids, 2 weeks off of school, it's a great time. You don't have to go to school. You don't have no homework. Like, it's great. Everything's fine. But for my family, it was a lot different. Like, I remember at first, in the beginning of the 2-week break out of school, I just remember we got to see all of my family come in from out of state, people that we haven't seen in a really long time. And we spent those 2 weeks with them to try to like kind of distract about everything that was going on. The beginning of those 2 weeks, I felt numb. I felt very, very numb to what was going on. I didn't understand. I was having trouble grasping the fact that I was never going to see him again. And, you know, then that second week of the 2-week break was his funeral. And when I think about his funeral, it's very bittersweet. Like, his funeral was so beautiful and the service was amazing and there was so much family. The church was overflowing with people, and that just goes to show you how many lives he had touched while he was in this world. And sorry, I'm like trying not to cry. So I just it's crazy. So one of the fuck, I can't do this. Walking into his funeral, it was hard. I just remember something funny. I remember when we first walked into the church, and like at the very top up the stairs was his casket, and you could see his little nose sticking out of the casket. And so we eventually made our way up there to go see him. And me and my sister are standing there, and he looked so peaceful. He looked amazing. He looked so handsome, and he was wearing a tux, and he was surrounded by a 49ers blanket. He was surrounded by a 49er blanket, and he had like 50 Lucas candies, like hella Lucas candies in his casket with him. One thing that I will forever regret was not getting up to speak. When everyone got to say their piece, my cousin spoke. My little sister spoke, even though it was hard for her to speak through tears. For me, I wanted to get up there and to tell everyone in that church how much he meant to me and how much he just made my life so much better. I wanted to scream to everyone how much I loved him and how much he loved everyone else, and he just loved his life. At the time, I was very, very young, and I wanted to get up and speak, but I literally had no stamina in me to be able to get up there and be able to pronunciate the words, because I knew I would just be crying so fucking much that nobody would want to hear it. And, you know, I know he doesn't blame me for not speaking at his funeral, but it's definitely something that I wish I would have done, because that's why I'm sharing this video now. It's one of the biggest regrets that I have, was not telling people how much he meant to me, or not telling people who he was and what his life meant. So that's why I want to stress the importance of this video. It's just like relaying the message of what he did for me and who he could have been for you guys. I'm sure you're probably wondering, what was his cause of death? Why did he pass away? The short and simple answer that I can give to you is that it was an accident. So I'm not sure how people are gonna feel about me including this in the video. Now, I want to be very careful when I talk about this, because it is a very sensitive topic for me, but I want to use this story and use it to help the next person, or to let the moral of this story be known. It was an accident. He didn't mean to die. He had an accidental OD. With that being said, the next thing I want to talk about is his legacy, and how his legacy has affected not only me and my family, but everyone around us, or anyone who's heard us talk about him or knew him. On October 20th of this year, it marked 8 years since he passed away. I am now 20 years old. So, I'm currently 20 years old. And fuck, I'm trying not to cry. So, something I can say that's honestly true for me is that I think about him every single day. There has not been a day that he has been gone that I don't think about him. You know, he always crosses my mind. He always lets me know whenever I'm thinking about him that he's there. Before he passed away, he used to always tell my mom, hey, let me get a dime, I'll clean your car. Let me get a dime if I mow the lawn. Like, let me get a dime if I clean your backyard. Things like that. So after he passed away, we just started finding little dimes everywhere, like places that dimes would never even be. And it would be crazy, like I'd be having a mental breakdown and I just start crying, and then I look over and all of a sudden there's a dime on its head, it's faced up, like looking at me, staring me in my face. So we get him coming through to us in the form of dimes and also dragonflies. After he passed away, my grandma was in the kitchen washing the dishes and just thinking about him, having a lot on her mind, and her window was open right above the sink, and in came a dragonfly, and it came and just landed right on her hand and stayed for a few minutes and didn't leave, and then eventually flew away. But, you know, I see dragonflies all the time, and I used to never see them before he passed away. So I have a feeling that like that's his way of coming through to us, letting us know like, hey, I see you, I'm here, I acknowledge you, like you're loved, don't forget me. His legacy has not only affected me and my family, he's also touched my very, very closest friends. I'm gonna insert a screenshot right here, and this is just something that my sister's friend said about our family and about how Boog has affected her. You know, this is something that I carry with me, and whenever I'm hanging out with my friends and I start to think about him and I break down, you know, I tell my friends everything about him, about the type of person that he was and just how he made me feel and how badly I wish that he was still here. So all of my friends, all of my family, everyone who's around me knows him, and he's not even here. And so I just want to let that be a reflection of his character, that he means that much to all of us, that he's still being talked about to this day. He's still alive and well in our hearts. Like, I ain't even gonna lie, bruh. He was a real shithead. Like, he loved to fuck with us heavy. He loved to just pick at you and like do whatever he could to like try to get under your skin, but in a good way. I remember there was this time that we were in the car and we got picked up from school, and he was sitting in the front seat and the radio was playing, and I remember me and my sister were in the back seat singing along to the song, and he pauses the radio and he turns around and he looks at us and he was like, hey, who sings this song? And we were like, oh, I think it was like Katy Perry or something. So we're like, Katy Perry. And he was like, yeah, let's keep it that way. Like, you know, just, he did so many stupid things like that. Just funny little things to make you laugh. And God, I miss him so much. Like, his personality was just so vivacious and he was so outgoing. He loved everyone. He loved everyone he met, you know? It didn't even matter who you were, where you were from, what you did. Like, it makes me genuinely upset that he's not here anymore. 'Cause he was the only person I had who looked out for me, who really protected me, who really was just like my big brother, you know? If I called him, he was coming. If I needed him for anything, he'd drop anything and do it for me. Like, you only meet so many type of people like that in your lifetime, and they are very, very rare. And it just sucks that he was kind of like stripped away so fast, you know? Anyways, guys, I want to use this story as a chance to teach a lesson, to spread awareness, you know? Be careful with what you buy and what you consume and what you use and what you do. Be careful who you hang around. Always be vigilant of your surroundings, you know? Don't go getting into things with people you don't even know. Just be smart, you guys. Like, the biggest takeaway that I've had from this whole experience is I do not fuck with drugs, like, at all. If I find out my friends fuck with drugs, I beat their ass. Like, that's how I honestly feel. It's just like, it's kind of made me this very, very narrow-minded person when it comes to that type of shit. And it's because of him. Like, I watched my favorite person get ripped away from me, and it's all because of that. You know what I mean? So, you guys, just be smart. Do better. Think. Use your full brain cells in any situation. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's peer pressure, if you fucking getting a good deal on something. It does not matter. Use your full common sense. Be aware of everything. I cannot stress that enough. Anyways, I'm going to get off this tangent. I just want to end this video by saying, when I say it's Boog's world, I mean my world is for him. I'm living my best life because I know he can see it through my eyes. Like, I want to be able to live the life that he didn't get to live. I want to have kids. I want to have a nice fancy car and do anything I want to in life, just to show him what it's like and to show him that he could have did it too. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really death is such a fucked up situation, and it's such a fucked up thing to have to deal with mentally. I wanted to share this story with you guys because it's very, very near and dear to my heart. It's very special to me. He was a very, very special person. Just like, I can't even describe how amazing he was to you guys. You guys would love him just as much as I do. And it's really crazy because I'm going to be telling my kids about their Uncle Boog, who are never even going to meet them, but they are going to know who he is because that's how much he meant to me. I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for listening to my story, and I hope you guys took something from this and learned something from this. And if you could do me a solid, share this video with your friend, with your mom, with your auntie, with your cousin. Share this video, copy the link, boost engagement, like anything you can do to help me out to raise awareness on this story. Like, I just want his name out there. I want his face out there. I want people to know who he was. I want him to forever live on and be remembered not just by me, but by the world. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for bearing with me through this video. I know it was a lot, and yeah. All right, you guys, catch you in the next one. Bye.